Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Originally, I came here to give you a presentation only tomorrow about not a wilderness project, but something we are doing on the lowland. But the organizers convinced me that since I worked in many park directorates in Hungary in the last 25 years, and I have some experience and an overview about Hungarian nature conservation, that I will say a few words, there will be a few slides about wilderness in Hungary, which is a paradox in itself. So it would rather wilderness in Hungary, what are you talking about? So that can be the real question. Also, it can be illustrated by this is in a landscape protection area in Hungary, in the former beech forest. Okay, but so it's a fact that Hungary as such has a very low potential for wilderness areas. This is an extremely simplified potential vegetation map of Hungary, where the green indicates oak forests, basically. The lighter the green is, it's forest steppe, rather forest steppe. The yellow areas are the loess steppes, which are completely gone. They are the best quality cropland areas. And I don't know what color is that. These are the natural grassland, alkaline grassland, alkaline steppe. And it's not by chance that in the southeastern part of Hungary there are more open areas. But basically, approximately 60% of the country, the beginning of the Neolithicum, was covered by different kinds of oak forests. Oh, and yes, and not to forget about the famous beech forest up in the highest, not mountains, but hills. So, Hungary has a low potential for wilderness, as I said. This is the coverage of the country now, the surface coverage. Most of it, I mean, almost 50% of the country is arable land. It's cropland. Approximately 20% is forest, of which, according to the WWF and also to the European Environment Agency, 50% of this 20% is a plantation, and those forests with natural species competition, these can be considered as semi-natural. They are managed mostly by state-owned forestry companies. Those who came from the former Soviet bloc, they know what I mean. So these are the former forestry companies which live actually on these forests. The others are probably 10%, 10 up to 12% is the grassland areas within the territory. So, as you see, this is really a low potential for wilderness. Back in the beginning of the 2000s, let's say, there was an initiative to establish forest reserves in Hungary, and there are 71. But on a scale of Hungary, you cannot visualize them with polygons. So these are only dots there, because the largest one is 260 hectares. This includes also a buffer zone around, so not core areas even smaller. So these areas are simply not large enough to be able to talk about wilderness as such. Okay, these are the nationally protected. This is the network, rather a patchwork. When we're talking about Natura 2000 that reminded me that the Commission used, not the Commission, but the Habitats Directive, of course, the Natura 2000 is ecological network of Europe. Basically, it is also a patchwork, because in my mind, a pure ecologist mind, I mean, a network is a connected something, so where the different pieces of different elements are connected to each other. So these are the nationally protected areas in Hungary, and I just indicated with red those ones which are bigger than 10,000 hectares. I just chosen this figure because in my view these nationally protected areas can be taken into consideration if we start with establishing the vision, as Vlado said before, about where to develop a wilderness. As you see, most of them are in the hilly part, mountainous part of Hungary. They are also covered by forests. Some of them has a very strange shape. You know, we had a head of the department in the 70s in the Nature Conservation Authority, István Keszthelyi, who said the 3 basic rules when you establish a protected area. It should not be too small, it should not be too big, and it should not have a stupid shape. So that was the 3 criteria. I just went back to the 70s again. As you see, for example, this is the, also from a wilderness point of view, the Rava National Park is bigger than 10,000 hectares, but it has an extremely stupid shape from a conservation point of view. It's a floodplain area. Even my park, the Hortobágy, is also a stupid shape. I mean, and also this is a foam. You know, here this is a landscape protection area of which 70,000 hectares. 70% is cropland anyway, so arable land. So that's the nationally protected areas in Hungary. And then, after this introduction, just to give you an idea how Hungary, without any photos or whatever illustration, it was very grateful to the organizers that asked these questions, because it seems that I'm the only one who is going to answer one by one during my presentation, because it's easy. So that's the reason. So there is no country-wide strategy for natural processes protection in Hungary, but the reason is, I told you the reason why this is so. Although some of the ecologists at the National Park Directorates, like myself, we have a kind of vision, but it's like a small light of a torch in a dark room. So, but it is there already. I can tell you. What we have actually is different kinds of designations which could theoretically support wilderness. They have different legislation background. It seems that these are a little bit chaotic. I mean, this legislation. Just for example, Hortobágy National Park, where I'm from, is the first national park of Hungary. It has so many designations with so many management objectives that now we make an exercise with the park management staff. Very simple one. We just make a concordance table and put together in the same table the management objectives. The park as a World Heritage Site, the park as a biosphere reserve, the park as a national park as such, and the park, same area, I'm talking about the same area, as a Natura 2000 site, both SAC and also SPA. So this will be very nice. I will inform you about the result. Most probably it will be funny. But the question is, it's a top secret. It's only for internal use. So I mean, internal use within the park staff. And anyway, it will be an interesting exercise. What are these legislation elements? We have an old, I would say, old-fashioned system. This is from the very beginning of Hungarian nature conservation. It started with in the 1970s, when based on the law at that time, the protected areas were categorized into two groups: the strictly protected areas and the simply protected areas. So these strictly protected areas are 1.3% of the whole country. So this anyway has a potential compared with the German and the Austrian figures what we have heard. But you have to know that this strict protection is not that strict. So there are many things which can be done, including the bark beetle management, if we have bark beetles at all. Those who are the lucky ones, I mean, lucky ones who have this problem at all. Okay, so this is a historical. I mean, strict protection is a historical thing. Like the and it's very much and now the authorities, which are the nature conservation authorities, are not very much effective on keeping. But even if it's written in the if it's regulated by the law on the nature conservation, I mean, enforcement and implementation is not the most effective at the moment. Because I say at the moment. But it is also mentioned by someone that we tend to forget about of time. Time is very important. It has a crucial role, I guess, especially when we talk about natural processes, and when we said that, okay, that how Natura 2000 can serve and how not. Natura 2000 is a static thing. When you ask anybody, any expert in the Commission, that okay, but you protect habitat types, different percentage of this habitat type, population of that species, it should be this size. Of course, I'm talking about extremes, but this is the case. And where are the processes? Where are they? I mean, in my view, succession is not necessarily a bad thing. It's a natural process. We have to support it in some cases. And they say, okay, we are losing biodiversity. Well, that's not the case, I mean, because another kind of biodiversity is coming in. And I'm not talking about invasive species and all these disturbances. Okay, the biosphere reserve core areas, this is the same historical thing, I would say. The first biosphere reserve were established in 1979, and now, almost 40 years later, we have the problems. How to comply with the regulations, which were, you know, the UNESCO. The map secretariat has different arguments and requires sort of transitional zone and whatever, which was not a question at that time at all, when these areas were designated. But this is again something, a good source, a good start, it can be a good starting point. I mentioned already the forest reserve network, and a relatively new piece of legislation from 2013. Then the national parks, the 10 national parks of Hungary should establish a zonation system within the park area. None of them has established yet. It's again a time-consuming thing, and in the forested parks in general, like the Bük National Park, for example. In the forested park, where there are the state forestry companies, then of course they are against the non-intervention management of those forests, because they have financial interest. So this is that. I mean, I think since nature conservation exists, this is one of the biggest questions. I think it's rather a communication exercise, but that's, again, will come later. I mean, not in my presentation, but later in time. Okay, this is the strange, stupid shape of the Bük National Park, but it's almost like a circle. So we are getting closer to, and these are the strictly protected patches in the Bük National Park. And when we, unfortunately, I don't have the map for those national park ecologists. have designed based on the existing data and information on habitats and species. They designed a zone which is more than 2 times bigger than the strictly protected areas and not necessarily overlap with these. But the forestry company has clearly said no to this new approach. So those narrow-minded ecologists continue communication exercise with the companies, and also on the it should be done also on the policy level, because it's not enough down there. Questions 2 and 4, I put together these into one slide because it's easy. Who is the initiator? They are always the regional nature conservation management organizations, the national park directorates. You know, we have a special system that we have regional protected area Natura 2000 site managers. These are the park directorates which manage not only one park or one protected area, but many of them. For example, the Hortobágy National Park Directorate is responsible for the management of one national park, 5 landscape protection areas, 20 nature reserves, plus those 128 Natura 2000 sites, which is my biggest headache at the moment. Okay, the coverage of such areas, potential ones, is very small. In my view, is approximately 1% of the country. But since I'm a positive guy, I think this is a good starting point to at least have a vision on this 1% to go ahead. Question 3: where are these target areas? This can be, or could be, the so-called A zones of the not managed natural zones of the not fragmented national parks and strictly protected areas with some large landscape protection areas. So these can be the target areas of wilderness. And there was a question who has a kind of role. I mean, NGOs, they don't. I would say they don't have a role. I mean, in this process. Of course, we are discussing and I mean, sometimes they help a lot. There was a case a couple of years ago in the Duna-Ipoly National Park where the forestry company wanted to cut down one of major big areas in a strictly protected part, and WWF helped us, I mean, the park a lot to then all these activities were stopped, and the Minister of Agriculture, under whom we belong, finally he didn't allow that. Okay, please, I made a mistake. I was just putting these X's, you know, into this column very, very quickly. I forgot about that. This bar beta thing is N/A. So it's when you consider this, it's not applicable at all. So yes, I was a bit confused because here it was game management and then regular elimination. It would be great. I would love to see regular elimination of game management, especially commercial hunting. Okay, question 6. Lessons learned. Anyway, this question reminded me those 3 questions. If you happen to watch the Monty Python and the Holy Grail, you know, when they closer and closer to the bridge of death, and there are 5 or 3 questions when they can pass. Nowadays we feel, I mean, Hungarian nature conservation doesn't matter whether government or non-government are there, we are getting closer and closer to the gorge of eternal peril. There's no bridge over it at all, and luckily no bridge keeper either. But we have these questions. Okay, question 6. This is not a lesson learned, but it's a fact actually. And to simplify it, the major issue with this was always, first of all, these areas were heavily used. Some of them, I mean, the former Rusty grasslands were used for dark materials for crop production. Then the forests, well, the last chance to establish wilderness areas, I guess, was at the end of the 18th century in Hungary. Since then, the industrial developments, and they created such a need for forest timber as a need that these forests were significantly changed. So the potential for wilderness went down very much, maybe down under the critical level. So, in my view, this natural process protection there is a possibility for that, but at the moment in Hungary it can be successful only in case of large areas. Okay, you can ask what do you mean by large? That's why I highlighted those areas in the third or fourth slide, which are bigger than protected areas which are bigger than 10,000 hectares, and managed by the park directorates, because it's in Hungary. There was also when we changed the political system from communism to capitalism, then it was not allowed. The Constitutional Court made a decision that the protected areas cannot be privatized. The former collective farm areas. So that was in the mid-90s, that was a great opportunity, for example, for my park directorate, so Hortobágy National Park directorate, that we became, the state is the owner, but the park is represents the owner on the property. So, for example, all the grasslands of the Hortobágy National Park are state-owned, and the management right is given officially to the Hortobágy National Park directorate. If other stakeholders come in, like forestry companies, private owners, then at the moment, I would say, so today, the vision is even smaller to have these future wilderness areas. We need, as I see, as a practical site manager, we need highly accessible remote areas for wilderness, and as in the northern hilly part or mountain range of Hungary, you know that due to the effective work or natural process in Slovakia, more and more predators appear. Fortunately, I say. The hunters say something completely different, but I'm not a hunter, so I can say that fortunately. So wolves, bears, and lynx established quite stable populations in some of the landscape protected national parks. I mean, in Oktelep National Park and also in Zemplén landscape protection area. So this creates. These are on the border, so far away. Anyway, I can't say fortunately, but what is the fact? That people move out from these villages, unfortunately. More and more, especially the youngsters. So the age tree of these villages is terrible. I mean, just the old people remain there. So this is again, which creates a social environment, which is an unfortunate thing, of course, when a village is abandoned, but it creates a possibility for future wilderness, and the guys are there at the National Park directorates, those ecologists who anytime ready to think about and write also down their visions on a good glass of beer or Hungarian wine. Okay, the other part of the story comes tomorrow with these animals. Thank you very much.
So, do you have any questions regarding Hungary? the empty shell when it comes to wilderness? You are right. You are right. You have 10 more minutes. You have 10 more minutes.
Okay, but of course, if there are
nothing to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much.